video, I'm going to show Christina School District teachers how to access their Nearpod account. The first thing that you want to do is you want to go to Classlink, and then you're going to look for this Nearpod logo on here. So then I'm going to click on this application. So once you open up Nearpod, this is what your screen should look like. In the upper right corner, this is where you're going to see your profile. I'm going to click on Manage Nearpod Account. Now, you should have a premium account. If you don't, please email the instructional tech staff. When you go into lesson settings, it's important to set up these settings to what you would like this to be. So here are my recommendations based off of when I used to teach. So the basic student settings, I like it to autofill the student names. This will require students to use their Google login. So they'll get a page that says login with Google and it will populate their names. This makes it super easy for teachers to identify students. They won't be able to use nicknames or anything like that, but this should help you identify and pull reports a little bit later. I also like to enable student notes. This allows students to take notes within the Nearpod lesson. I'll show you what that looks like in a later lesson. I also like to enable immersive reader. So this gives accessibility to students who have accommodations, and that's text to speech. There are additional tutorials that show students how to use those. I turn off default to student view, and I'm going to show you why in my tips and tricks lesson. For right now, I like to turn this off, but I do like to allow students to edit and resubmit their answers. I turn off require student responses and prevent skipping. Now, there is a time that you want to turn this on. So if you have student paced mode and you have a sub plan, you'll want to toggle this and turn that on. But for right now, I like to turn that off. So just keep that in mind that you can turn that on and off based off of what your needs are. Share quiz and multiple choice question results. I turn this on because I do like to share with my students their results. And enable collaborate board. So I do turn this on, and I'm going to show you why I turn that on in a later tips and tricks lesson. But this allows students to post on a collaborate board during a student-paced lesson. It's up to you if you want to enable this or if you want to disable this. You know your students the best. So if this is turned on, if there is a student-paced lesson, so let's say that you're making a sub-plan or you have something where the students are working independently, this allows them to post on there without you moderating that. As far as notifications, it's just going to send to my Christina email address, and that's fine. And you don't have to worry about payment details because the district has already taken care of that for you. Okay, let's say that you want to use a pre-made Nearpod lesson. I'm going to go over here into the Nearpod content to the Nearpod library. If you want to search by grades, you can go ahead and you can search by grade level. So I'm going to click on high school, and you can also filter by standards. You can go by lesson, you can go by activity. And now I'm going to check in social studies, and you'll see that world languages, English language arts, math, science, technology and computer science and other are all on here as well. So I'm going to click on this congressional committees, and I'm going to click preview. This will allow you to preview the congressional committee's Nearpod lesson that is already created on Nearpod. You can see that there are 44 slides on here, and you can go through each slide to preview it. I'm going to go ahead and click this add to my lessons. So now when I go back into my Nearpod library, so I clicked on Nearpod in the upper left corner, and right here, this is where the congressional committees is located. I'm now able to edit this lesson. It is in my Nearpod account, and I can go ahead and I can edit this. So I'm going to click on edit. And this is where you can add or delete slides if you would like. So I'm going to just go ahead and click save and exit. Now, there's two different ways that you can actually send this out to your students. You can do a live lesson by clicking live participation, And what this will do is it will generate a code that you can give to your students. So if I was to give this lesson in person, I would post this code on the board or on Schoology. I could also copy this link and I can post that on Schoology. This is what Schoology looks like. I'm going to create a discussion board for a warm-up, and I'm going to give the students a few warm-up questions. So this is something that they would do as they're entering my classroom, and I would usually give them 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the warm-up or activating strategy in your classroom. And then I used to say to my students, after the warm-up, go to nearpod.com and type in the code, and I would take the code from over here. You can simply just copy it from here, or click here. So how I did this was I highlighted this and I clicked insert content, and then I clicked link, and I copied this link right here. And I just pasted this in here, and then I click update. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to click create, and now I'm going to click on the warm up. So this is how the students will view it. And you can see they can go to nearpod.com and type in the code, and then they can see that right there, or they can simply click here. It's going to give them this redirect notice. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And now it's going to ask the students to sign in with Google. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign in with Google. You'll see that it pre-populates my name, so I don't even have to type in my name, and I'm going to say yes, continue. And the students are now in my lesson. Make this a student-paced lesson. Student-paced lessons the students will do on their own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this embed code right here, and I'm going to say medium. So I clicked on embed and I clicked on medium, and I'm going to click copy. This is great for subplans. I used to do this all the time with subplans. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. I'm going to go back over into Schoology. You can either make this a discussion board or you can make this an assignment. I used to make these assignments because I would grade the students afterwards, especially if they were subplans. So I'm going to create subplans for 10, 15, 22. And I'm going to insert the content. So this little square box right here with the arrow. And then I'm going to say image or media. And then I'm going to say from the web. And I'm going to click on media. And then I'm going to paste that embed code. And again, I always went with medium on this. And I'm going to say insert. You want to give the students instructions on here. So I always told the students click on the following link to access today's lesson. I would have that embed in there. And then I would also, just in case if students wanted to open this in another window, I would copy this link right here. And I'm going to go back over into Schoology and see this little chain right here where it says link. That's where I'm going to paste that lesson. I'm just going to call that Nearpod lesson, and I'm going to attach that. And you can do all of the regular things that you do with assignments, set a due date, choose a grading category, all of that. And I'm going to show you what this looks like. I'm going to turn off comments. So I'm going to disable comments on here. So now when I click on the assignment, it's going to open up with that Nearpod lesson right on there. And again, they can sign in with Google and they can access the lesson and go at their own pace that way. Or they can simply click on this link here and it will open up in a new window. Reports. So I want to show you how you can access reports after a Nearpod lesson. So on the left-hand side, you're going to click on reports, and then you're going to select the lesson that you would like to look at. So I'm going to look at this session from October 17th. So here is where I would have a summary of all of my students. I only had one student participate. So you can see there was 19 slides. One student participated, and this was a live participation. And it also gives me what the code was for that. So here I get a nice snapshot, a nice summary of everything that this student did in this lesson. If you want to dive deeper, you can go ahead and you can click on the student name, and it will go into student reports. Here, this is another snapshot. So if you wanted to go through and look at another student, you can with this drop down here. This gives you a nice snapshot of everything that happened in the lesson. So you can click on the collaborate board, And I'm going to click on view only. And this shows me everything that this student did. So if I wanted to take a screenshot of this, I can go ahead, take a screenshot of this, bring it into that IEP 504 or parent conference. It also shows you everything that the student did. There were 7 matches with 21 tries. There was a few polls that the student participated in, and it shows you everything that they clicked on. They skipped over this quiz here. There was also another collaborate board. It even shows you their drag and drop. So again, you can take a screenshot of this. You can bring it into those meetings. Open-ended questions, it'll show you everything that they did in there. It shows you a picture of their draw it in here, and it shows you their polls. If I click on activity reports, this will give me an activity report for each activity that there was in the Nearpod lesson individually. So out of one student, I had 100% participation, and this is what they chose. You can download an entire lesson report, or you can download a student report, which is what I used to do when I brought these into meetings. So I would say student report. All of your students are going to be located on here. I'm going to select Crystal and I'm going to select download as a PDF. You can either save this directly to your Google Drive or you can email it. I'm going to go ahead and save it to my Google Drive, and I'm going to select these two and I'm going to click continue, or I can email it to myself and I'm just going to type in my email here. And that's how you can access and download reports in Nearpod. So those are the basics on how to get started with Nearpod in Christina School District.